Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Monday. This is the Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 239. Got to change the graphic here. It's wrong. Gonna change the graphic. As we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. I am your host, Sam Wu, coming to you from the Primetime Radio Studios, The Bunker, in an undisclosed location in New Jersey. We're back for a fifth year. Season 6, but for fifth year, 5-year anniversary of the Let's Go Devils podcast. Celebrating all season long the 2022-23 NHL season. The Devils finished up the Prospect Challenge up in Buffalo. I've got some comments about it. I want to hear your comments about it, about the New Jersey Devils' future. The future is now, folks. Because we're seeing a lot of great things from these young kids that were drafted in the Tom Fitzgerald era. What about some of these kids performing against the other teams, such as the Buffalo Sabres, Boston Bruins, Montreal Canadiens? Some of these kids are pretty good. Some of them you wouldn't even expect in the later rounds, scoring goals, trying to make an impression, both now and the future. What about Alexander Holtz? 2 goals in that first game against the Canadiens, getting the game winner, developing a little bit of chemistry and, a little bit of a tic-tac-toe with Simon Nemec, which, by the way, this is a little off topic, but I almost want to write a letter to the New Jersey Devils because I'm quite confused about the pronunciation of names that have been going on, because it seems there's a little meow inconsistency. Is it Simon Nemec or is it Simon Nemec? I don't know. I've heard both. But I usually go to YouTube videos before the player has been drafted and see if I could get an interview and see if that's how you pronounce his name. Just thought I'd point that out there. Not a criticism. Just trying to critique and help our New Jersey Devils. But I'm going to say the names how I'm going to call it. On this podcast, there's one thing we've admitted to. We mutilate names. Happy Devils Monday to you, Mike Rossi. Oh my goodness on YouTube Live. The inventor of Beefalytics from last night's podcast. If you don't know what that is, listen to the Let's Go Devils podcast, Sunday edition, season 6, episode 1. Sorry about that. And you would know everything about Beefalytics. We like beef. And maybe I should have some Woo-alytics on the Woo Report, since I'm always critical of analytics. Well, I'm going to make up my own crap. What I think, how I measure players and their ability to win. But I'll tell you what, there are some players, aside from Alexander Holtz, that really impressed me. Number 1, Riley Walsh looks to be a very talented and very good all-around defenseman. Player development guru Megan Dugan has Riley Walsh and Fabian Zetterlund as the ones that possibly could make the team in training camp. And I thought Riley Walsh played very well, can kick and skate, good positioning, can take the body, always involved in the offensive zone, smart player. Wow. Is that defense going to be stacked? The pipeline is full. Keep it flowing, Fitzy. Simon Nemitz, first couple games. Wow. Not bad. Not going to put a lot of pressure on this kid about making the opening night roster, but let me tell you something. The future looks great. Now, I'm going to butcher this name. I've heard so many different versions. I know Nate Milbank of the Facebook Live has given me some pointers. As a matter of fact, he wrote me a letter on those pointers, handwritten letter. Nikita Uhachuk or Ohachuk, whatever you call him. The O train will be in Newark. The guy can hit. You mess with Simon Nemitz, he's going to drop the gloves. After all, he's supposed to defend his team, right? Defend his goalie. His physicality, his tenaciousness. You talk about beefalytics, his beefalytics. Nikita Hoychuk is off the charts. Anthony, Mr. Wu, a little late, but happy Devil's Monday. Happy Devil's Monday to you, Anthony. There is no such thing as a little late for a happy Devil's Monday. Philman, Beefalytics rating a 7.1. Oh my goodness. But I'll tell you what, this team needs a little beef to go along with Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. Help is coming. And this is what we've talked about, growing through the farm system. This is rebuild 2.0. 1.0, okay, we got a playoff victory out of it under the Ray Shuro years. Tommy Fitz staying the course, filling that pipeline, making shrewd trades, spending all the way up to the cap ceiling this year. Oh boy. We're starting to see a glimpse of the future, what's to come. I mean, we're talking about late round picks like Jesper Bratt, really on a contract to prove himself. But what about Josh Philman? 6th round pick, 2022 draft, just a couple months ago. Scoring 2 goals in the tournament. How about them apples? How about that? Let's talk about my favorite Penn Stater, Arne Talavini. Woo! Scoring that goal. 10 a.m. hockey. It's like he was like the caffeine that just wakes you up when he scored that goal to make a 1-0 against the Boston Bruins, the big bad Boston Bruins, the Little Bears. And you know what? I like what I saw. I actually like what I saw out of Tyler Brennan. Starting in goal. Got the loss today. I mean, lost in the shootout. Can't blame the kid. Showed flashes of brilliance. We talked about goaltending. He was the best goaltender in the draft. Devils got him at 4th round pick. But Josh Philman, I'm telling you, Nate Milbank saying his name was heard a lot. Could he be the next Jesper Bratt or Yegor Sharangovich? Steve Tardis has gone off tangent. We need a Sam Wu night at the Peru Center. Hey, you know what? If we have a Sam Wu night, so be it. We'll give out some Wu towels. And we'll let you know where we're going to be broadcasting on opening night. Don't want to say too much, but there's a couple changes going to be made for the betterment of this fine programming called the Let's Go Devils podcast. Brad K, YouTube Live, the future's so bright, I got to wear the shades. You know that song, Corey Hart, back in the 80s? I wear my sunglasses at night. You know that song? Yeah. That's going to be us. And Devils are going to be hot. They're going to be hot. I'm telling you, they are going to be a hot team. A team to be reckoned with, folks. I wouldn't mess with the New Jersey Devils and their fans. Rangers are coming off of a high. Shesterkin had one of those, not even career years, but one of those like MVP type seasons, which, is it sustainable or not? I think what the Devils are doing is sustainable. But the future is now, folks. And watching this prospect tournament, I don't care about wins or losses, but I like what I saw. Did you like what you saw out of these guys? And there were just a couple names that came out. The one kid, I forgot his last name. Starts with a V. Not Vukovic. One that scored 2 goals. That kid. But it was good to see the young kids play. I'm actually more excited about the Utica Comets than the real club. The big club. Your New Jersey Devils. Just because you get to see what's about to happen, seeing into the future. But folks, it's now happening now. It's happening now. Simone Nemitz. Now, I'll tell you what, we haven't even talked about Luke Hughes, which is even scarier if you think about it. The amount of defensemen that the Devils have. The pressure is off right now if you want to really re-sign Ryan Graves, who's on a contract year, and Damon Severson. There's 6 spots. Of course, you want to have a deep bench, especially on defense. You can't teach size. Size comes at a premium in the NHL. Mobility comes at a premium in the NHL when it comes to the defense. But also the right-handed defenseman as well. But I'll tell you, Simon Nemitz and Luke Hughes, Riley Walsh, Ahoytuk. This is your defense, folks. This is your defense. This is going to be a great team. Still, little patience. Be patient. But this is going to be a great team because now it's not just all speed and skill. There's size now. There's grit now. There's beef. Beefalytics. This podcast is the inventor of Beefalytics. Oh, my goodness, part of the podcast. I'm assuming a loyal viewer. That's what he called it, and that's what we're going to call it. Beefalytics. Because that's what this team needs. Is that drive, that passion, the grit to overcome challenges. When you're down 3-0 and you got to stir it up, get the team fired up, lay the body, protect your goalie, be intimidating. yeah, there's still people that are saying, "Oh, woo, those old school hockey, it is obsolete." No, you could be intimidating in today's hockey world, where you kind of knock off all the crap. Steve Carter says we need some top 9 forwards with size and grit. Well, we've got size and grit on the top 12 forwards, Steve Tardis. Who's to say that Lindy Ruff would not makes a match some of the bottom 6 with the top 6? Well, specifically on the power play. You saw what happened when Nathan Bastian was parked in front of the net. Now you got Miles Wood back. Maybe you get Eric Howla some PP time, even though he's a penalty killer. Things are looking good for your New Jersey Devils. The future is now. Now, folks, it is coming. Tatar, Johnson, McLeod. According to, believe it's Julie Robenheimer at Brat Pack's Twitter space, saying that McLeod will be in camp and it'll be business as usual. According to Julie Robenheimer. Saw that on Twitter. Again, nothing against Julie, but I like to see it before I believe it. And that goes with anything. But the Devils better address that issue, the elephant in the room, because that could become a distraction later down the line. But that should be addressed on so many levels because we were left hanging. All of us were left hanging. Explanation needs to be to the fans. Antonio Rodriguez, YouTube Live, a lot of players on contract years. Yeah, so you know what it means by contract years, folks. It also means cap flexibility. When you spend all the way to the cap, you don't want to be locked long term where you have no flexibility to make changes. Careful spending by Tom Fitzgerald, taking risks on Palat, John Marino taking on that contract. Seemingly, you would hope that they're great value contracts, although I think maybe they're a little overpaid at the moment. But that can all change if they put up numbers and put up wins. Anthony asks, do I think Wojciech reminds me a little bit of Lyle Odeline? I can't envision Wojciech to shooting the puck at the other team's bench. Lyle Odeline used to mix it up, but he was a little immature about it. Some of the things that he used to do. But it was great. I mean, it was entertaining at the time, late 90s. I love Lyle Odeline wearing the number 24. I think Wojciech is going to be one of those players that, like a Brooks Orpik, if you want to take a Pittsburgh model, I think he's going to be the O train. And I'll tell you what, he's going to plow people over. A little bit of Anton Volchenkov, remember that name? And that's what the Devils need, really. And I love the fact that he stuck up for his teammate when Nemitz got banged around. And that's good, because we've seen that happen when other teams take liberty on Jack Hughes. And you want a deterrent out there. Not so much for the stage fighting, but knowing that you've got that role player and that teammate to fulfill an obligation of protecting your best players. Ken Danico was great at it. He was a leader on that blue line. So maybe I'll say that, he could act like a heart and soul of the team type player, because it seems like he doesn't take crap from anybody, Nikita Hoychuk. He's just not going to take crap. And that's a good thing. That's a real good thing. Because you're taking a stand. And in the trenches, in the no fun zone, players need to be punished if they're going to get to the Devils goaltender. Plain and simple. Lay the intimidation, your physical presence. And I'm glad that the Devils got a player like him, the O-Train. Anthony says we got to make that nickname stick, the O-Train. It will come. We'll have to have like little sound bites, of it. Craig Best, Nikita the Beef Ahoychuk. That's good. Yeah, you know what? We should have like Beef Fest. Just beef. We'll get like Colin White. Get some players had a lot of beef of all sizes. It doesn't mean you have to be a big 6'5" player in the NHL, but you know what? A Grant Marshall, pound for pound, he had a lot of beef. Didn't take crap from anybody. Good friend of the podcast, Grant Marshall. Who else? Scott Stevens. The hits that used to lay on people. We like beef. Cam Jansen. Jim Leahy says, Cam Jansen, amazing beefalytics. Cam Jansen is just, he's got his own stat, actually. But his beefalytics is off the chart. I mean, if I had my own, like, EA Sports games, and I'm ranking players, I mean, Cam Jansen, make the boards, the glass rattle anytime it lays a hit. The O-Train. And those hits, let me tell you something. Those hits can be contagious. Let me tell you something. If Ahoychuk lays a hit, I mean, it gets the team pumped up, gets guys skating faster, the adrenaline gets the crowd going, the seventh skater. Jim McKenzie may have been the best beef ever. He could play and fight. Jim McKenzie was probably one of the best teammates ever. And I think Marty Brodeur would attest to it. Jim McKenzie. Back in the day. But yeah, I mean, the Devils blue line, Dougie Hamilton, he's a big guy. But you got to have that killer instinct. Put the game away, folks. Put the game away. Well, I want to thank all those tuning in on a beautiful Monday night. We're back. Remember how we were doing a podcast a day? Keeps the Rangers away? Yes, we're back. We had some technical issues. Plus, I need to relax a little bit. It's going to be a long season. Bobby Holik, Beefalytics. You just look at Bobby Holik. You already know he's a 9.1. According to OMI Goodness, Beefalytics. And you know what? Maybe we should get a sponsor, like a butcher. Not Will Butcher, but a butcher to sponsor our Beefalytics. Because we like beef here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. But again, I can't thank you enough for tuning in, watching. A podcast a day will keep the Rangers away from that cup. That's what we say. Don't forget Arnott, Beefalytics. I mean, that 1-2 punch of Arnott and Holik, line 1 and line 2, that was incredible. Or Nemchinov, Arnott, and Holik. That was something else back in the early 2000s. Something else. Dropping the podcast at midnight. Also, check out my blogs on hockeybuzz.com and also pucksandpitchforks.com. Pucks and Pitchforks, editor-in-chief Nick Villon and I. Remember, State of the Fan address every 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll have to figure out this week what's going on. I think Nick may be on a business trip. Forgot. Sometimes he tells me stuff in passing, but I usually forget. And then I ask him the last minute, are you coming on? Well, I told you I wasn't going to be on. Whoops. Maybe we'll get Vinny Parisi or something like that. Going to hit the music. Also, honorable mention, Catherine Bogart, part of the Devils coverage team. I mentioned she should win an Emmy for her performance. Doing pregame, intermission, and postgame from the Devils studio. She's pretty good. Pretty good. It's hard to do these kind of things when, there's prospects. And trying to keep up. There's no box scores or anything like that. You got to do that on your own. Anyway. Keep it here. Keep it real. Opening night. Let me tell you, opening night is going to be a wonderful thing. Apparently, Beer Baron's bringing his family. Anyway. This is the Woo Report. Till next time. Let's go, Devils.